Hi, David Odell here with Odell Complete Concrete. This is actually part 6 of a 5-part series, which doesn't make much sense, but this was an add-on. We thought we were going to be done, but then we got a quick change on this, and we're going to do, instead of the poured-in-place cantilever, which we initially were going to do, we ended up going with a brick bullnose. So we're going to show how I put it down. What I did is I snapped a line on the concrete at the base. I put some concrete adhesive down to hold this up against that step so it'll never move. And we have 4 different types of bricks here. They actually went down to the brickyard and selected this, and they did four different colors of bricks. The bottom brick, as you see going on there, is all the same. That's your gray brick. And then we have a dark iron spot, a medium iron spot, and a light iron spot bullnose. And these are 9-inch long and 4-inch wide bricks. That includes the mortar, of course. So first of all, I set the bottom bricks, and those are about 7.5 inches out from the front of that that concrete there, the nose of the concrete, and that allows for about an inch and a half cantilever over the top of that with the bullnose brick. So we got those set on a bed of mortar. And what I did with that mortar, because I knew I was going to build this thing in one day instead of just laying the bottom and coming back and dropping the top, I actually left some gravel mixed in with the mortar. That way it would stack up and not sink down when I put this extra weight on it while it was still wet. You could put pure mortar, but if you start stacking this weight behind it and on top of it, the bottom bricks will start to shift on you. So I left some gravel in there. It really makes it stay where you want it to. And then you can go ahead and complete the project in, this took me about 3 hours. And that's setting them, cutting them, grouting them. So I use my aluminum straight edge, which if you've watched any of my videos, you've seen me use that a lot. There's the Milwaukee red stick, which came in real handy for this. Also, I used the 10-foot 2x4 aluminum screed, which came in real handy as well. I have just a little bit of slope. Basically, I continued the exact same slope from the concrete over the brick, so you don't see any weird transitions. Now I'm just kind of cleaning up the bottom brick, because after that load came down on it, it pushed a lot of the mortar out of the base, which is good, which means I don't have to go back on it and try to hit it with a grout bag or try to hand push it in there. These bricks are actually hollow core, which ties them in better. Now, if you had a hollow core on an end where it's visible, you wouldn't want to use those. You'd have to get solid. But what the hollow core does here is the mortar pushes into those cores and ties it in more solid. And this is just a basic. Sometimes I go with the 20 silica, number 20 silica sand and plastic cement for my grout. In this case, I just use your basic spec mix bag right off the shelf. Gives it a little bit more rustic feel because you got bigger granules of sand. So it almost gives you a sand wash grout, which goes good with this particular style that we're going with here. And you'll see when we get ready to seal this whole thing, because we're going to seal this out with some wet look lacquer base. And I went with Glaze and Seal, which you can get right off the shelf at Home Depot. They're the Glaze and Seal, I think, was the first one that got in there that was a lacquer based sealer. And the reason they're able to do that is because it has the lowest VOC, which means it's thin. It's like thin as water, basically. So here it is. That's after the sponge down. See all that extra sand that's just laying on there? That's from the grout. But that gives it a hardcore look. You notice how the joints line up with the bottom joint straight down? 2 bricks per every brick. That's kind of what you want to see happen. You can see the residual cement from the sponge off. But now we're moving on to the pressure washing of the patio. Because before you seal, you want it good and clean. Even though this concrete's only been down about 3 or 4 weeks, still has some bird droppings on it, and some who knows what else got on there in those 4 weeks. But we got to clean it all up, and then we have to let it completely dry overnight. You can try to push it, hit some blowers on it and some, heaters and stuff, try to dry it out quicker and seal it the same day, but you're running a risk of the sealer whiting out on you, turning to a milk color, and then you got to strip it all, and it's definitely not worth it. You're better off waiting a day so it's completely dry. So that's what we'll do here. We'll wait a day, clean it, wait a day, come back and seal it. And when we do come back, we'll also have to hit it with a blower just to blow off the dust and leaves that may have landed overnight. So the concrete drained real nicely. No puddles anywhere. And when the sealer goes on this, you're going to see a big difference in the modeling of the concrete. Here's the sealer I was talking about. Here's your glazing seal right off the shelf at Home Depot. What I do, because I'm running it through a sprayer, and I'm also adding this, it's an anti-skid additive that I add to the sealer, because when you're putting the wet look on there, it gets a little slippery when there's water on top of the sealer. So you put the anti-slip in there and you get like a 100 grit, maybe a little less, maybe a 200 grit feel to the concrete, and that gives you the traction that you need. And what I do is I cut it a little bit with acetone, because I want it to spray nice and smoothly through the sprayer and evenly. So I cut it about, I put 1 part of acetone to about 3 parts of the sealer. No one will tell you that, because it's really something I just developed over the years, and it works like a charm. See, so we've got the blower out, blowing off the dust, and that's staying right behind the sealer because we happen to have a windy day. Oh, I took my shoes off because I had some mud on my boots on the bottom, and I said, well, I'm not going to wear these and track mud around and then seal it in. So I had to go barefoot, basically. But notice that modeling, and that's just a single color, but look how it really pops. And the reason it does that is because the way the mat works with the concrete, some places it hits, some places it doesn't, so it actually models the concrete. And then of course some places it may even stick to the concrete when you're releasing them, so you get another color. So you almost get 3 shades of the same color. Now I have, this is a 2-gallon HDX garden sprayer. Everyone will tell you don't use them because they're going to explode with lacquer, and yeah, they can. The hoses can melt, the handles will fail, but they're disposables and they're only about $12 a piece. So every time I go out to a seal job, I'll buy 3 of these, 2 or 3, This particular sprayer made it about 3/4 of the way through this job, and I had to dispose of it and then assemble the next one. But you know, you can get a $200 sprayer and it's still gonna fail on you, because the grommets are plastic just like the hose. They're rubber, and acetone still eats that. Those grommets are replaceable. Those O-rings, actually, they're replaceable also, but who wants to fidget, you know, with all that when you can get a $12 sprayer and just keep switching them out? That's what I do. Unless you got a yard man that just works on sprayers and stuff, then I guess that's okay. But here's the little beauty. Turned out like a masterpiece. The nice thing also about cutting it with a little bit of that acetone, it dries quicker. So you can get out on there and go about your business. Like, say you've got some other trades coming in. In this case, we did have another trade coming in today to start on the house, painting and stucco repair and what have you. So they were going to be here within an hour of me getting here to spray, and now they can do that without any problem. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and if you like these kind of videos, make sure you subscribe and wait for the next one, because it's going to be a beauty. Massive driveway with a power trowel. Have a good one.